Hello. All right, everybody, welcome to episode 4 of Graduating Without a Plan. I can't believe we've made it this far either. But you know what? I also can't believe that I still have a fucking rash on my face when it's been, I don't know, weeks. Since I started making this podcast, I've had a rash, but it's reoccurring. I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to the dermatologist about it soon. Please stay posted. Anyway, public service announcements for this week. Actually, we had a write-in from my sister's German fiance, who is very blunt. I don't know if it's a European thing. I don't know if that's just just kidding, Peter, I love you. He said, as a public service announcement, asked me, could I please announce that over-the-counter sales do not require a tip, especially not one that is 25, 30, or 35%. They are not appropriate options, preset options. Thank you, Pete. Danke, as they would say. Danke out in Germany. Anyway, okay, my additional public service announcements are, if you have not tried the Metrix RX Vanilla Caramel Churro Bar, you should. And if you are Conan Gray, are you gay or no? Asking for a friend because, quite frankly, my bi panic can't take it any longer, so please clarify. Thank you. Anyway, so let's just dive right in. I would like to just clarify that, since this podcast, it has been Valentine's Day. I threatened my father, the last one, that if he did not get me anything for Valentine's Day, I would be very personally offended and hurt, and that I would also no longer be buying him knishes at the grocery store when I went. He did get me something. I did receive a big box of edible arrangement, chocolate-covered strawberries. So, Father, you are off the hook. As a matter of fact, my grandfather, who also listens to this podcast, was concerned that Dad might not come through. So he also got me flowers and a card, very cute and sentimental card, which was very nice. And I, wrote him one as well, and one for his lady friend. But mine were funny, right? I always write things that are a little, I won't get into that. The point is Valentine's Day went okay? Other than that, I really just sang on Valentine's Day. I had so many plans for Valentine's Day. Like, I love Valentine's Day. I like making a whole week of it, like the month of love, right? I was not feeling super full of love this month. I was depressed. I was kind of like, I have no friends. But I, still tried to make some plans. I wanted to do like a girls' night, like making, crafts and like, going to Applebee's and getting those little like bowls that you ever get those like little bowls from Applebee's that they have the alcohol, but there's like hardly any alcohol in it, right? They have a they'll put like a candy heart in it, and I'm like, meanwhile there's like 0% alcohol. Whatever. So I wanted to do all these things. None of them came through. All of my friends bailed. All of my friends were sick, including myself sometimes. So everyone's off the hook, but you ruined my month. Just letting you know. Good thing my father and my grandfather came through, or else I don't know. This month when I went to the shitter. But anyway, yeah, on Valentine's Day I basically worked all day, which was fun though. I liked it, right? Because one, I feel productive. I feel good about myself. I'm like, oh my god, I did something, right? I'm not like wallowing in my own self-fucking pity. The cursing thing went out the window, by the way. Oh my gosh, last week I said I wasn't gonna curse anymore. I'm sorry, Christine. I'm sorry, that's my pisser's wife. I'm sorry. I'll try to control myself from here on out. So, yeah, Valentine's Day was really fun. I sang, so back in the day, when I first started singing, I used to sing at like the senior homes and stuff, like the senior centers I used to volunteer. So I did that for Valentine's Day. I did a little senior home just to kind of be nostalgic and do something cute. I love singing there too. They are so cute. Like old people, I love old people. They can be very judgmental and feisty. I will give that. Like when they don't like the music, they don't like the music. But they so far have really liked the music. And it's really cute because like say you have like those people who like say are like losing it a little bit, like mentally, and they're kind of like yelling or they're counting. Like there's this one lady, she's counting all the time. She was like 1, 2, 3, 4, but then as soon as I start singing, she like gets quiet and she looks at me, and sometimes she remembers the words, which is like, okay girl, like So I have such a good time with them. And, you know, back in the day when I first started singing at the senior centers, it was great practice because my whole thought process was, you know, at that time I was nervous. I don't have social anxiety anymore. People ask me all the time, do you get nervous when you sing? No. But I always used to say it was because, you know, they couldn't hear it anyway. So what did it really matter? Like, what do they care? And it's true. It's true. But it was really funny because I was singing in the bingo room, right? And I went like a couple of minutes over because this lady, she like kind of made her way in. She came in her wheelchair and I was like, well, I can't end now. She just got here. So I said, I'll do an extra song for you. And she was all like, oh, okay. A lady in the back, literally, I hear from the back someone go, it's bingo time! I was like, oh. So when I tell you, I was singing Bye Bye Love, and I was going, Bye Bye Love, and all of a sudden, the bass went, Bye Bye Love, Bye Bye. Like, it elevated because that was a lot of pressure now. So what I'm saying is the old people, they tell you straight. But it was fun. And then I sang at a restaurant, which, like, later that day, which was really cute, too. Because, like, I love watching people on dates. And you say to yourself, like, is this their first date? Is this their first Valentine's Day together? Or is this, like, an old married couple? You know, I'm just so nosy, and I love drama that's not mine. So it's really fun. It's really fun for me, you know. Anyway. What did I write? Did I write notes for this episode? We're a couple of minutes. Okay. What? Oh. I don't know. I really didn't have anything to talk about because, like, I've been saying, I decided to do this podcast every 2 weeks because in the winter, like, what am I doing? What do I have to talk about? Nothing. Literally nothing. Like, hey, what have you done the past week? Nothing. I've sat home. I've struggled with what feels like an oncoming cold that just hasn't quite broken through yet. You know, I'm going to the gym and seeing no progress because I'm coming home and watching Cobra Kai and eating, like, ice cream on the couch, and that's, like, my only source of enjoyment this time of year, you know? In the summer, I have a lot to do. Oh, you know what I did do? I went to a little concert. With my sister's friends, actually. Because my sister will never go out with me, so I always have to go with a friend. And she actually did make an appearance. I was proud of her. She did make an appearance, but only because they were that. Like, she won't just go because I'm there, you know? And that was fun. I love techno. Does anybody care? I don't think anybody cares. Anyway, let's dive into things that really are pressing. Let's talk about something that actually matters today. Instead of just hearing me rant, I have been listening to Theo Von's podcast, right? And he just put that one out. Okay, I'm about to say some things that some of you men don't want to hear. And women. Anybody. I'm about to say some things that y'all don't want. Do you guys notice my Christmas tree in the background? It's still up. It's February 18th. It would have been February 17th if I had started recording this when I planned to record this, but Duolingo, gave me that aggressive notification being like 30 minutes until your streak ends, so I had to get that done. But so we can say February 17th, February 18th, whatever. The point is, the tree is up way too fucking long. I'm done with it. I love Christmas, but, like, I want it to be special. Can you please put the tree down? Mom? Dad? Whoever's... Whatever. I should just be thankful my dad got me fucking chocolate covered strawberries. Like, I really need to. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, let's talk about some things that matter. Theo Von had that girl on his podcast talking about porn, right? Deep subject. Let's get into it. Let's talk about something important. So, this is my long-standing gripe. Let me get into my whole feelings about this. I was super naive growing up. I never watched porn. Ever. In my life. Never. I didn't even know what a penis looked like until I was at least 18 years old. And it was because someone was like, you should really see one. Like, you're too old. And I was like, what? I didn't know how anything worked. I never inquired. I never even thought about it. Because you know what I was doing all of my childhood? I was hanging out with my grandma. I was listening to One Direction. And I was contemplating suicide. No, seriously though. Like, I was in a place, but it wasn't Pornhub, right? I was in a place, but the place was now Pornhub. So I never really had feelings about it, you know? And then when I was a little bit older and I started dating people, obviously people would talk about porn and they would be like, oh, do you watch it? Or I watch it. Do you want to do something based on this porn, right? And I was like, what the frick? And so naturally, you know, people showed me things. I was curious or whatever myself, and I like had looked, but it was never really something that I found super appealing or really understood, because I was like, I don't get this, right? Like, why do I want to see this? But also for that reason, I didn't really have a strong opinion for or against it. You know, I never really thought it through. And then it wasn't until kind of very recently, like my most recent relationships, that it kind of struck me that maybe this is not something I would want my partner consuming, because I was not consuming it, right? Like, it just didn't matter enough to me to consume, because there was so much evidence about how bad it is for your mentality. It's like the same reason I never, you know, started smoking nicotine. Like, I already knew it was bad for me. Why am I going to start? Why am I going to addict myself to something that I know I shouldn't do? So I never even, whatever. But all of a sudden, it kind of like, I had an aha moment where I realized, like, people in pornography are real people, and I wouldn't want, it's not a matter of I don't own anybody, but I wouldn't really feel comfortable with someone I was dating to be, I don't know, looking at like, say if a man or someone I was dating, like, received a nude photo of a girl in our hometown, and he was jerking off to it, I'd be like, that doesn't sit right, you know? So why would it sit right if it was someone else on the internet? And to be fair, it was actually a little weirder when it's someone on the internet, because now it's just like impersonal. It's actually just weirder. It's just like, why we watch, like, it's just become something that has been so deeply normalized in our society, when, let's be so for real, like, back in the day when porn was first happening, I mean, who knows how long it's been happening, but, like, picture this. Like, say in the 70s, when all you had on TV was, you know, the only way to watch something was on your TV. Most houses had one. It was in your living room. And so there was only two types of people who were watching porn. It was either you had to, you know, go to this store, rent a pornographic DVR, or what a CD-ROM, or what were those things, like, you know what I'm talking about, put it, like, wait for your kids to go to bed and then, like, put it on your TV, and most of the time I would think, like, your wife would know, your husband would know, so they would either have to be kind of in it with you, or it was, like, sneaky and weird. Or you had to be, like, a creeper who was kind of who lived alone and was just, like, watching porn on their TV. Like, it was just so much harder to access, and I think it was, for that reason, it was weird. Like, if you did that, it was a little weird. And, like, to go to the store and rent it, you had to be a little, I don't know, where now everyone can do it. And so it kind of took that, I hate to say shame, like, but it kind of took that public shame out of it. Not that it's meant to be shameful, but you know what I mean? Like, it's, you're supposed to stop and think, like, is this really what I want to do? And that's gone. So now you have all these people who are just have this access to this stuff. And, you know, I remember when I was younger, and, you know, someone I was dating was very open about that he was watching porn and encouraged me to. And I remember I just was like, it's not for me, but I don't care that you watch it. It just is what it is. But for me, it was kind of like, you know, I'm also a vegetarian. And when I went vegetarian, it was for a number of reasons. For one, it was because I had a weird traumatic incident with meat, which is kind of, you know, it was just like I was at a restaurant and there was like a boiled sheep's head, and I was like, no way. Right? But then once I inquired more about it, I realized how much animal cruelty happens I mean, granted, obviously we know the animal's dead, but I mean the extensive cruelty within the meat industry that is much further than just killing the animal. It's like torturing the animal beforehand. The health hazards it has on humans because of the pesticides, because of the crazy shit that's pumped into the food, and because of the environmental aspects. And granted, that's controversial now. Oh, like soy is much harder to produce than beef. Whatever. I mean, we could go. But at the time, the knowledge I had was that there was really no benefits to me eating meat other than just kind of enjoying it sometimes. But for me, I could also, instead of like, now, like I could have a veggie burger, or at that time, now Beyond Meat and all that stuff came out, which was very similar. So for me, the pros of not eating it just outweighed the cons of eating it. Like there was just so much negative to it that it was like, how can I in good conscience eat this anymore? And even if to this day I were to go back to eating meat, I would think of it so completely differently. Because I one time I was a vegan, and I didn't even view like animal products as food anymore. Like it was so beyond. To me, it was so outlandish to even consider. But now I'll eat like, eggs from like a friend of mine who raises chickens, or I'll eat dairy that I know is, locally farmed or whatever. Like, because I think about it so differently than I used to. So the point is, to relate this to pornography, is that I know in my life how detrimental it is to your psyche as a human, as your physical state. There's studies to prove it. You know that it's damaging to your intimate relationships with someone you're dating or someone you're with or married to or whatever. And 3, and where this all comes full circle, as it always does with me, on this podcast by Theo Von, this woman was talking, and you should go listen to it if you haven't already, but she was talking about how 90%, or like some crazy, I don't know, maybe it's not 90%, but a very high percentage of pornography on Pornhub was some type of form of sex trafficking. Well, it's all sex trafficking, right? I mean, if you're exchanging, money for sex, it's sex trafficking. But how much of it was like non-consensual, right? And you never think about this, but Pornhub is like the same as Instagram. Anyone can just make an account and anyone can upload it and whatever they want, and there's no censorship, there's no regulations. So the amount of like revenge porn on there, the amount of stuff that people didn't even know they were being recorded and was uploaded, underage kids who were like children, but also like say 16, 17-year-olds. And how this stuff, like, it haunts them and it follows them forever, because say one day they do miraculously even find out that it's on there, you can never really delete this stuff, right? So this is stuff I hadn't even thought about, because a lot of times you think of like, oh, the porn stars, you think of whatever, like if, you assume these people are consenting, I mean, that's always kind of a loose term, people can be coerced with money and otherwise, but you assume there's a level of consent. But for whatever reason, I had never actually thought to myself when seeing any type of, quote, homemade pornography, did both of these people consent to this being uploaded? Right? I had never actually even thought about that. I always just assumed they did, right? Or that there had to be some type of agreement before, you had to have a special account to be able to upload, like. So it really rattled me to the core, because it made me very deeply, it just, when something just rocks you deeply, it's like the same with the vegetarianism for me. Like there was certain moments that just rocked me very deeply, and I felt just very strongly all of a sudden, and was like, this is just not something I can like tolerate anymore, and like just something I don't want to ever see, to ever support, to ever, like the person I'm with, I don't want them to ever be supporting this either. And that was my hot take of the week. Sorry guys, like I never get this deep. I know you came here for comedy. I never get this deep, but like it just rattled me deep to the core, and I just felt like I should talk about it because I think just more people need to think about it. And, you know, if you're a girl right now, hear me out, right? I've had this talk with men before, like, about this and saying, you know, trying to have a rational conversation of, like, maybe you should reconsider this consumption, especially within our relationship. And, you know, guys will talk up and down about how they rationalize it. Half of them are addicted. Like, you can't be angry. They're just addicted and they're fucked up and they don't understand. But, you know, we as women, like, just don't back down. Or as men, if you're with somebody who's, you know, because, you know, men are given a lot of excuses and it's always chalked up to, oh, men mature slower, or that's just how men are, or that's controlling for you to do. Like, it's not controlling to have boundaries, right? They don't have to adhere to them, but they also don't have to be with you. But two, men don't mature slower, they're just given more excuses. Let's be so for real. Men, I'll say it again, men do not mature slower, they are just given more excuses. So, anyway, I've seen in my life that I've accepted, I've seen in my life that I used to accept a lot of things when I was younger that I just don't accept now. That's one of them, right? Porn's one of them. That's just a preference now. But, like, think about all the random things that, like, okay, example, right? My first date ever. No, I'll take that back. No, when I think about it, my first boyfriend ever was when I was 17. And we used to hold hands and kiss and but we actually never, like, went on a date. Like, now that I think about it, we never went on a date, which was fine. He was cool. I liked him a lot. He was good to me. You know, it's always like they're good until they aren't, kind of. But there's very few that were ever, like, good all the way through. When you think about it. You know, I can think of a few. Actually, I have a few in my head. I like that. Okay. I'm one of those people who I'm friends with all of my exes, and that's a hot take. Whatever. If you're not, you don't have to be. But I'm trying to be friendly with all of them, because it's kind of like, if you're not, I don't know, if you didn't love them enough to be friends with them, then why do you love them enough to date them? Does that make sense? And, like, also, these are people, let's be real. I was in a very, like, pretty serious relationships for most of my 20s. I'm only 25. But for the past 5 years, I was always in pretty, like, consistent relationships, like, that I was in for over a year. So I really did most of my dating from within literally 1 year, from the year of 18 to 19 is when I did 90% of my dating. And it was mostly on Tinder, right? Like, I met everyone on Tinder, and it was kind of funny because it was never, like I said, like, I really didn't have a lot of experience. I was kind of sheltered, but I really loved meeting people, and I used to, like, go on Tinder, match with people. I'd go on a date with them, and every single time, even if I never, like, if I wasn't interested in them, like, to date, I always stayed friends with them. Like, I always hung out with them more than once. I used to have parties, invite them, set them up with my friend, you know, like, that's just who I was. But, yeah, but not everyone traumatized me. Not everyone traumatized. You know what? Let me call. I'm not kidding. Let's call one. Let's call an ex. I had nothing planned for this episode. Let's call an ex. All right. Who's the first one? What's one that didn't traumatize me? You know what? This is the episode. I'm going to call an ex and thank them for not traumatizing me. How about that? Let's see. Let me look one up. Who do I have? Yeah, I liked him. He was nice. I'm really nervous. This was a side quest. Should I do a shot? Hey, pause up. Hey, y'all. So I've returned. I have a cup of Grey Goose. Because I'm nervous. Oh my gosh. See, this is what it costs to be funny, right? Like, this is what it costs. I used to be funny naturally. Now that's all. All right, let's do a shot and call it next. This is fun. Oh. So I'm picking one. When I say ex, let's call it a situationship. This was one of my he's literally a good friend of mine now, actually. He's a lot of fun. He'll answer. So this one, let's just call him. Let's just see what happens. Is it on speaker? Oh, it's on speaker. Let me get my Grey Goose ready.
Hello?
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 Oh my gosh, hi. So how are you?
I'm doing. How are you?
I'm good. I just wanted to call. I'm doing a podcast. And, whatever. I just wanted to call and let you know that you are one of my few exes that did not traumatize me, and I want to thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I feel like good vibes all around. And continued good vibes. I have a tattoo on my ass that I would not have gotten had you not given me the idea when I was going to go get my other tattoo.
Wait, okay. Can you unpack that, please?
Unpack that?
Yeah, elaborate. What's the tattoo of, and how did I inspire you? Because this is actually news to me.
This is news to you?
Yeah.
This is like a whole conversation. So, like, you were having a dinner with all your friends at Schaefer's. It's now something else.
Oh, yes. Cigar, yes.
We had some drinks, whatever it is, but I was already planning on getting a tattoo on my arm, on the inside of my right arm. A little, like, fire, like, campfire, and under it would say concealed firearm.
Okay.
So that's what I was planning on already getting. And so while we were out having drinks and all that, I told you all that. And you guys thought it was funny. And then you told me a story or an idea, or you had a friend, or you had read somewhere about somebody got a tattoo on their ass that said the words, your name.
Yes,
so
okay.
So that way, any situation that they got into, you'd be like, hey, what's your name? And then they could be like, whatever their name was, and we'd be like, oh my God, that's crazy. I had your name on my ass.
I know. Yes. So, okay, wait, this is coming back to me. I remember this. I had a time in my life where I wanted to get a tattoo on my ass for a similar reason. I wanted to get a chicken on my ass.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. Okay, continue. But continue yours. So I can get into that later.
So now at this point in my life, I have a trifecta of tats for that. I have on my right arm, I have my concealed firearm, so I usually open up with that.
Okay.
It's like, hey, I just want to I just want to, like, let you know, like, and this is a joke that you have to finish, otherwise it makes the situation real tense.
Okay.
Like, it does. You're like, hey, I just gotta tell you, I have my concealed firearm on me. I just want you to know that.
Right.
And you're like, oh wow, all right.
Right. They're ready to fight. Okay.
Right. But then you're like, hey, do you want to see it? And then they're like, then they get even more like, all right, what's happening? And some people are really cool about it. But then you have to finish the joke. And then I pull up my sleeve and I have like my little firearm on, then select laughs and all that fun stuff. Then I say, you know what, I have, but how do you spell your name? And we go through all that fun stuff. And then I have that on my ass. I mean, I don't usually show people. It's usually not appropriate, but
right.
Whatever it is, I can explain it. But then after all that laughs, all that fun stuff, they think that, wow, you have 2 joke tattoos. That's funny. Then I'm like, yeah, I always have a few tricks up my sleeve. Then on my left arm, on the inside of my left arm, on like the mirror image where I would have my concealed firearm on my left arm, it's a little like magician's hat with some bunny ears coming out of it, and it says a few tricks. So that way I always have a few tricks up my sleeve.
Wait, that is... the way you planned out a whole like 3-step joke.
Oh no, it's I'm never going to regret these. It's going to go well throughout the nursing home years.
No, literally, wait. Okay, wait, you're saying I helped inspire that? Oh my gosh, I'm so flattered.
No, yes, you helped make this dream a reality.
Wow. You know, I'm really honored that I had that impact in your life.
No, yeah, you did 100%. And only been good vibes since then. And whenever I come back to New York, I always love seeing you.
Okay, wait. This was the most wonderful little side call ever. Okay, well, I am very happy you picked up. Thank you for picking up, sir. I won't keep you on because I'm literally like recording a podcast. But
no, it's absolutely fine. I'm gonna continue watching Hell's Moving Castle. You have a wonderful podcast.
Okay. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Did I not tell you he would answer? He's the best. That's why he's one of my favorite ex. We were more of a situationship. Okay, can I unpack him actually now that like he's here? Let's call someone else. That was fun. But no, but okay, so literally I met him on Tinder when I was, I don't know, 18. We went on a couple of dates. The kid has a sailboat. Okay, we went on like, he was always like, I'll take you on my sailboat. Blah, blah. Nicest, sweetest kid ever. Literally nothing wrong with him. Literally nothing wrong with him. Was so nice to me, so respectful. And I have no idea what happened. Like, I have no idea what happened. I literally just was like, I don't know. I think it was just like, I don't know. I think I was like supposed to, I don't know what happened. This will go down in history that I actually don't know what happened between us. We just fizzled out, I guess. But then like I saw him all the time, like he lives down like by he lives in one of the big towns, and so I used to see him all the time. When he lived in New York, he moved, but I used to see him all the time, and we were like friends. We were like good friends. We'd hang out. He came to like my house for parties and stuff, and that's just that. Can you imagine? I fucked up. Wow. Anyway, okay, so moving forward, who else can I call? Who else do I think would answer? See, this is what I'm saying. You guys thought I wasn't actually friends with my exes. They will answer because we're friends. Hold on, I'm just dialing. This kid kind of did destroy my life, but I still love him. He's cool. I'm gonna lie to him. You didn't ruin my life. Mm-hmm. Oh. He's not gonna answer because I'm...
Hello?
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 Hi, it's Emy.
Oh, hey.
I know, I'm just calling from my mom's phone because my phone is recording the podcast at the moment. But anyway, no, I just wanted to call and I wanted to let you know that you're one of my top favorite exes and that you were one of the few that did not traumatize me, and I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, thanks. Tried.
JK, you did traumatize me. I'm hanging up.
Alright. Sounds good.
That's all you have to say?
I'm sorry, I'm half awake. You just call me and you're like, you know what? You traumatized me.
No, I'm saying you didn't traumatize me. That I really appreciate you as a person.
Oh, okay. Then you said no, JK. You said hello, JK.
Well, no, I mean JK, but like, obviously, but like also like, but we're still friends, obviously. So like, we're chill. Like, we're still bros like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have nothing. You have nothing nice to say about me. Be like, yeah, you were great too.
Oh no, yeah, you were definitely one of the most traumatizing ones.
Really? In what way?
No.
Really? Elaborate. Elaborate.
No, you're great. You're a fantastic person. I don't think there's anything bad to say about you ever.
You're gonna. Oh my. Wow. That makes me look really good for the internet, so I appreciate that.
Well, it's the truth.
Wow. Oh, well, okay.
I feel
Okay,
like if you were really that terrible, I probably wouldn't have answered anyway, you know?
Right? See, that's my thoughts too. Like, if anyone doesn't answer, it's just because I'm a shitty person and I should go fucking kill myself.
Yeah, or they're busy.
Or they're busy. Or they're busy, he says. I'm dead. Okay, well, anyway, that's all I had to say to you. I appreciate you picking up. I'll let you go because I'm still recording.
All right, fantastic. Have a good night.
Okay, good night. Okay, not to, like, toot my own horn. They said it themselves. Okay, never call me toxic again, bitch. Hold on. Now I'm out of exes, right? I'm out of nice ones. Let's see who answers. LMAO, imagine he doesn't answer. This is so funny. Oh no. He's not gonna answer.
Please leave your message for 6
Oh my
3
gosh.
1 5
This was
7
my boyfriend
8
when I was
0
17.
3 2 5.
Oh my gosh, you hate me. I was literally recording a podcast, and I was just calling to say that you are my top 5 favorite exes, and I want to thank you for not traumatizing me. But anyways, thanks for answering, bro. Just kidding. Okay, bye. Men are so fake. They literally don't care about you. I think the vodka hit a bit. Let's see if he calls back. I don't know. He's gonna listen to that message and be like, hey, we dated when we were 17. We're 25. The time that this podcast has been filmed, the alcohol has hit me. That was a really large cup of vodka that I drank. Like, I didn't just sip, I like just drank it. And that was silly of me because I thought that I couldn't be funny or social without it, but now I'm just tired. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just tired. Anyway, Michael Thompson, if you're listening to this, I love you. And he was like, oh, he like DM'd me. Whatever. I'm fucked up. Remember that time? Oh my god. When I think of Michael Thompson, can I think of Michael Thompson quickly? A wonderful, amazing, smart, out of my league individual. He literally, oh my god. Nah, there was this one. Okay, can I actually tell a story? Can I actually tell a Michael Thompson. Okay. So, no. There was this time when I went on a date. Ready? Oh, no. I didn't go on a date. Okay, can I clarify? So, a couple of years ago, I was still seeing this one guy who's a demon, but like, oh my god. So back in the day, I still had a boyfriend, and I was talking, and I met this kid out in Port Jeff and with a group of people, and he was really cool, and he was like, hey, and I was like, hey, and so we like, he called me a couple of times, we talked, and he was really nice, and he was like, do you want to go out on a date? And I was like, I have a boyfriend, and he was like, okay, and then he was like, okay, but can we still hang out? I was like, yeah, well, sure, like, as long as you're fine with it not being a fucking date. And he was like, okay. So we go out to Bolero in Sayville, and clearly, like, right away, I figure out, like, this is a date. Like, this guy is being really, like, too much. So I was like, okay, let me wrap this up. So we were there late. We were there at, like, 10 o'clock. The place closed at 11. We get out into the parking lot at around, like, 10:45, and he's like, hey, like, just, I'm so stupid. He was like, hey, like, I just want to show you this song, like, sit in my car. And I was like, okay. Which wasn't the first time that has happened, right? Like, there have been multiple Tinder dates of mine where people are like, hey, come sit in my car, right? Like, which, I don't know why I did. Like, retrospectively, as an older person, like, why would I go sit in a stranger's car? But at that time, like, smoking weed and, like, sitting in Applebee's parking lot was, like, a date, right? When you're 19. So me at 22 was like, okay, like, whatever. Like, I don't, like, what is he gonna do, right? So I'm sitting in the car, we're listening to music, and, like, he starts, like, putting his hand on my leg, and I was like, oh, I gotta go. So anyway, long story short, this kid ends up, like, chasing me up and down the parking lot, like, pinning me up against the car, like, dead-ass trying to fucking murder me. And the parking lot's desolate at this point. It's 11 p.m. I was like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Anyway, I didn't die, but he, like, dead-ass was trying to kill me a little bit. Like, have you ever seen that movie with Anna Kendrick? The movie, oh my gosh, about that guy, that killer. The parking lot scene, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. It's on Netflix. That's, like, what it was like. And he, like, yeah, he just tried to fucking kill me. But I ran around to the passenger side of my car, and I jumped in the passenger seat, and he, like, stuck his hand in my window and was like, you cannot leave. And I was like, fucking let go. And I almost ran him over, but I didn't. But anyway, I left. So fast forward a couple of months, then I go to homecoming. Was Michael Thomas there? I don't know. I think I would know if Michael Thomas was there. But was Michael Thomas there? I don't know. Anyway, so he was there, the kid who tried to fucking murder me in the parking lot. And he was wearing, like, this Playboy necklace. I was like, fuck you. So naturally I was fucked up, right? It was homecoming. I was drunk. I was in the tailgate. And I was with a big group of people. I think including Michael Thomas. I don't know if I was including Michael Thomas. It might have not been him. But whatever. There was a bunch of, like, kids from the track team, which is why I'm thinking it's Michael Thomas. So I literally, like, because now I had this group of men, I was like, I'm invincible. I was like, fuck you, you stupid. Like, I went at this kid, and he ran out of the stadium, which was cute, which was hot. I was happy about it. But that was the time I almost got murdered on a, not date. It wasn't a date. It was just I was hanging out with somebody. I'm stupid. I always hang out with people thinking they want to be friends with me, and then they don't want to be friends with me. Like, am I dumb? Like, but for me to assume when I say, hey, like, I'm dating someone, but do you want to be friends? And they're like, yeah, and then they don't want to be friends. What does that mean? This whole episode is shitting on men. I love men. I think men are really cool. Most of my friends are men, because most of my friends who are girls are not really my friends. Like, I'll be honest, I have very few female friends, and I hate to be like, a pick-me girl, I'm just one of the guys. But I really am. Like, it was really funny in my Bible study. This one kid, in Bible study, they're always talking about, like, getting a wife. Like, they want to find their wife and all this shit. Like, I'm happy for you, but okay. And, I one day, like, joked about it because they were talking about, like, getting wives, and I was like, does anybody forget that I'm a woman? Like, I'm available. Like, I'm a woman. Like, I could be a wife, right? And I was like, raise your hand if you don't think of me as a female, as you think of me as a bro. And, like, several of those people raised their hand. There was, like, 10 people in the room, like, 7 of them raised their hands. They're like, yeah, and we forgot you had a vagina. I was like, I know. I'm just one of the bros, which I'm happy with. I like being one of the bros, and a lot of my friends are dudes, and I like that about myself. Like, I don't like that about myself, but I like that for me, because they're just so much fun. Like, I've learned so much from people, and dudes, and I just don't see it like that. Like, I don't see male versus female. I don't even view myself as a female. Hear me out. Like, I'm not, like, confused or anything, like, in terms of my identity, but I genuinely don't view myself as male or female. I just view myself as, like, I'm a being, you know? Like, what does it matter what I am? I'm just here. And if I have friends who are guys, I have friends who are guys. If I have friends who are girls, I have friends who are girls. Like, what does it matter? I'm just Emy. I'm just Emy, you know? I don't know. Whatever. So anyways, guys, I don't know what this podcast was. I'm really sorry. In 2 weeks, maybe I'll have something better to say. In the summer, I'm definitely going to have better to say. I have so many good concerts coming up. So many good raves to tell you about. And I swear I have a lot of good stories about my life, too. But they're just not coming to me today. Anyway, I love you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for listening, Michael Thomas, specifically. And I'll see you in like 2 weeks. If not earlier. If I find... Listen. If there's something that comes up that is worth talking about within a week, I'll let you know. But probably not. So I'll see you in 2 weeks. I'll let you know when I finish watching Cobra Kai, because I'll tell you, I'll have things to say about that. I love Ralph Macchio. I met him twice. The first time was on purpose. The second time was by accident. The first time I was stalking him for like 6 months, and I could never run into him. The guy lives like 5 minutes from my house. I was stalking him for months. I could not find him, and then I ran into a car show, and then I cried and cried and cried, and he was like, what is going on? I was like 16 years old. This was way before Cobra Kai. I was so ahead of this ball. I'm sorry. Like, I loved Ralph Macchio way before Cobra Kai was everything, and then now, like, I loved him when he had like 10,000 followers on Instagram. Now he has like 1 million, because whatever, fuck you guys are so up behind the curve, but I'm fine. And you know, his daughter, who's now in the show, if you Google who his daughter is, you'll see that she's in the show. She's always like the sassy Italian aunt. I met her in Stop and Shop with her boyfriend, who then she broke up with, and then I matched with him on Tinder shortly after, and I wasn't that into him, but I did try to slide in because I just was like, this is kind of cool. And he was into it. And then I think he may have remembered who I was. Because then he kind of like went ghost. And I was like, you definitely recognize me from Stop and Shop as your stalker. But whatever. And then the second time I ran into Ralph Macchio was in a restaurant completely by accident. Because, of course, once I was actually looking for him, he went completely, you know, he was everywhere. Once I stopped looking for him, he was everywhere. And I saw him at an Italian restaurant, and I shouted, is that Ralph Macchio? And he looked like, oh shit, and pretended he didn't hear me. And then I just cried in my corner and ate my dinner. And that's my experience with Ralph Macchio. So anyway, guys, again, love you, good night. If you're my ex and I called you and you didn't pick up, fuck you. And if your ex and I didn't call you, there's probably a reason. But call me next time. Okay, bye. Love you.